Yes, everyone, good morning and welcome back to Forever United TV. Your Manchester United update is here Monday morning, bringing you all of the action on and off the pitch. It's Bryan Mbeumo Day. Manchester United will officially announce Bryan Mbeumo as he joins the squad for training before they head out tomorrow night for the Tour of America. Chicago is the first game. Obviously, we'll have updates on all of the stuff that is happening on the tour here on Forever United TV as well. We've got updates though this morning on Ganacho and Rasmus Hojlund's future as Manchester United step up their intentions and trying to get players out for, like what Romano said, bringing in other players. We got an update on Benjamin Cesco as well, but where are we at with Ganacho and Rasmus Hojlund? A different stance apparently according to reports on Rasmus Hojlund as well. Update on Anthony also, and another goalkeeper target that might not now be heading to Manchester United because of a rival with a massive bid going in. That just this morning, that information coming through as well. But we are going to bring you updates throughout the day as and when we get the announcement from Bryan Mbeumo, obviously. And it does look like when we were saying last night and was going through the news about Manchester United stepping up all of their work regarding the players leaving Manchester United, I think we're now in a position where we're going to see what happens with players coming in. United really, I think, accepting where they are in the transfer window and needing to move players on a bit cheaper. Rasmus comes into that, and we'll talk about that in a moment. We're going to start with Ganacho, but last night we did a poll of what the most important positions were that Manchester United needed to bring in. It got a little bit mixed up because after the poll last night, Manchester United fans watching the show actually said that the striker was the least important. Now I thought, that can't be right, can it? Did we do it a little bit differently? So we're going to pop another poll up there right now. Which are the two most important positions United need to do this summer? Goalkeeper, midfielder, striker, goalkeeper, and striker, midfielder. Get voting. Which two players do we need to bring in? As simple as that. Get voted on them three in the poll. We'll run that throughout the show again as normal and see where we're at this time. Let's see if the striker actually is the top of the important list on this one, because I think it got a little bit mixed up. I still couldn't believe that the striker was the least important last night, so we've restructured it and get into that as well. And obviously drop into the comment section if you're catching up later on also, and let me know what you think regarding that and where we really do need to invest our money this summer. Let's get into the news. A fresh week for Manchester United. First game of pre-season done. All of the news throughout the weekend. Mbeumo, Rashford. Now moving on. Romano has updated it once the official announcement is done for Bryan Mbeumo. United will move on. Romano said it last night, and he did another video on Benjamin Cesco last night. It comes down to what Manchester United can move on. We'll talk about Cesco shortly, but Ganacho was the one stealing a few of the headlines last night in terms of Manchester United's next move and where we're at. So, what I meant at the top of the show was Manchester United, like we were speaking about last night in the evening show on Sunday, was actually realising that, you know what, the clubs are just not going to come and take these players away. We have to cut our losses and move forward. And that point was proven with Marcus Rashford's 26 million buy option for Barcelona. If they can't afford that, then I give up with anybody buying Marcus Rashford ever. But I think that obviously shows where United are with Rashford. It's another year of wages gone, which Barcelona are obviously going to pay, and United don't have to fork out, and United can lower the price of Marcus Rashford next summer and he's out the door. I think Barca will buy him at that price. It is that cheap. But if he doesn't, then we know that United are in and around the 30 million mark for Rashford, and he'll be sold somewhere else anyway. So where are we at now with the likes of Garnacho? Now, he wants to stay in the Premier League. Yesterday, we heard from, I think it was Pete Hall, who was saying that's Garnacho favourite to go to Napoli. Napoli have been buying this summer, and I don't know if there is any more room for Garnacho. Just saying how it is, to be honest. I don't see how Napoli, if the so-called rumours of Ganacho being their top target. I remember the conversations we had. Antonio Conte has told the club he needs to get Ganacho. That was about 2 months ago, and nothing has happened. So, moving past that, I don't see Ganacho going to Italy. I think the obvious is England. He wants to stay in England. He's made that point, and he's pushed his representatives to find him a club in England to move to. And the top of that list right now is obviously Chelsea and Aston Villa. Now, the reason we're talking about Aston Villa and why, obviously, we had the stories about Garnacho open to a move to Aston Villa. Now, still not fully convinced, because I think if Chelsea come in, Garnacho goes instantly, because it's Champions League football, and I just think that was the club that he was interested in January. That was the club he wanted to go to. And if they come back in, I think he'll go there. But I think he is now realising that there is a chance at Aston Villa for him. He wasn't convinced by the project at Aston Villa and staying there long. But Manchester United obviously are open now to being creative in the transfer market with deals, and obviously loans will come into it as well. Whether or not Ganacho will be a loan to Aston Villa, I don't think United would push that because they obviously need the money. Unless they're really confident about getting good money for Antony, which we'll touch on again in a moment. We did sort of allude to the fact that Atletico Madrid are in for Antony last night. But we really do need to probably recoup some money for Ganacho now that Rashford has gone on loan. Obviously, we are going to sell Jadon Sancho. That deal should be finalised soon, like we've spoken about aplenty. But Ganacho to Aston Villa does actually have legs, and Manchester United are indeed open to him moving to Aston Villa. And I think I've lowered the price for this move to actually happen. But like Romano said the other day, Manchester United would always be open for a swap for Manchester United, and obviously then you're looking at Emi Martinez as well in this situation. So if you looked at Garnacho right now, so they don't want to loan him, but Villa don't want to spend too much money. Garnacho wasn't too open to moving to Villa at first. He wasn't convinced by the project and what was happening there. But now reports from last night, apparently that's changed, and now Garnacho is open to moving to Aston Villa. So does that bring in what Romano said with the swap and everything that could happen there? So we know that Manchester United have been talking to Aston Villa over Emi Martinez. Could there be a potential swap deal with Garnacho going one way and Martinez going the other, with Villa obviously paying Manchester United some money towards Ganacho as well, because Ganacho is worth more money than Emi Martinez. United then would have a first-class Premier League proven goalkeeper in their ranks and money in the books to actually go out and buy a striker. So you could get Emi Martinez in, goalkeeping situation sorted. You sell Vitek, you sell Bayende. Obviously, no one's going to come in for Onana at the moment, but he would move down to number 2, and United would just have to deal with that internally. And then you would have a bit more money available for going out to buy a striker, and that could be a Benjamin Cesco. I don't think we'd get 2 players off Aston Villa. The fans would absolutely do a nut, wouldn't they? But there is obviously the talk of Ollie Watkins. If Manchester United fancied getting, say for instance, Senil Lamens instead of Emi Martinez, and we know that Watkins would be open for a move to United, does Watkins come the other way for Garnacho? And that is a straight swap. You've got your striker in, Garnacho's off the books, and then you've got a proven front three of Watkins, Mbeumo and Cunha. This is all coming about, and the talk and what I'm saying here, this isn't a definite, but this is the talk that will come about because Ganacho apparently now, according to Graham Bailey, is open to the move to Aston Villa. So it opens up a couple of different transfer avenues for Manchester United with trying to move Ganacho out. I think, and bringing somebody else back in is obviously a bonus, especially if you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And you get where I'm going with that one. I think it keeps it simple for United, and it's a transaction that can be done quite quickly. But can you imagine Manchester United all of a sudden, like, we get a little bit of money from Aston Villa and we take Emi Martinez, you get the goalkeeper in, that then gives you the money to go and buy a Benjamin Cesco, and all of a sudden you've got a world where you've got Benjamin Cesco, Matthias Cunha, Brian Mbeumo and Emi Martinez in your book, in your team. You've still not sold Jadon Sancho or Antony. You've got that money to come, and you've only need to buy a midfielder then, and your transfer window's complete. You can see how United can attack the window if Garnacho is open to Aston Villa. And I think that's probably an important way of looking at it, because United, like we said before, are stuck in terms of, like, again, Romano also said this, we're stuck with how we actually get these deals done because of the finances that we've got. It's important that United sell players. If you could bring in one player, get some cash and get another player in the opposite direction in a key position, then we are looking at, I think, a very, very clever, shrewd piece of transfer business for Manchester United. Look, that's just in my head and how I see things, but we only know about this, and it's not just me who's saying it, obviously. I'm just putting 2 and 2 together. We're going off what Manchester United were open to do with Aston Villa off the back of what Romano said. So only if Garnacho's open to Villa would Manchester United probably get Emi Martinez. That's what I think anyway. I don't think we're going to go for him if it's a cash sale and we're not getting anyone else and no one's going the other way to pay for Emi Martinez. You get what I mean by that? Because Emi Martinez is on decent wages as well. He's on treble the amount of money that Garnacho's on, and that's also something else to consider. Do United want to be paying a goalkeeper over 150 grand a week wages? Which I'm sure is what Emi Martinez will demand. Is it better to bring in Senny Lamens, who is probably going to be on, like what Ganacho's on, 50 grand a week wages? Is that a simpler deal for United? And it comes down to making a decision on what Manchester United want the most. Do they want to just get Ganacho out the door as easy as they can? Or do they want to concentrate on trying to make as much money for Ganacho as possible and buy the players that they really need? I think that's where a lot of the fan base will be judging Inos and Manchester United, because they want to see them work for the best of the football club, not what's the easiest to get deals done, just to actually fill a line, basically. There's our goalkeeper in, we've done our job. They want to see United go to the max and trying to get what they can get done with the money that they've got off the sales of the players, because United have sold them for decent money and got good deals out of them. That's what I think. And I've always said this the other day, I said it as well, that the proof in Ineos and their recruitment team will be in how they get players out of the door. So far, so good. Rashford gone. Good money for Manchester United. Wages off the books. It was never going to work for United in trying to sell Rashford. No one wanted to buy him. He's gone. Out of the way. And that situation is now dealt with. Obviously, you've seen the pictures of Marcus Rashford arriving in Barcelona last night. That's out of the way. But Ganacho, I think, probably is looking likely to be the next one after Jadon Sancho. Although, in the way that Sancho's going at the moment, and Juve did sell a player last night, so again, it looks like they're moving players along. We could get an update on Jadon Sancho very soon, actually, in terms of where we're at with Juve, and if they do actually go in and commit to this. But I think that's all being done. That's aside. Garnacho maybe next, then Antony. I think United have got plenty of room in this transfer window for bringing players in and out. So, again, that I think is the only way that Martinez comes in. But you could see if Garnacho is open to moving to Villa, and you say, for instance, you got Emi Martinez for the price that Manchester United will pay, and United wanted Emi Martinez and 25-30 million for Garnacho from Aston Villa. So you get Emi Martinez in, 30 million as well in transfer fees for Ganacho because of the player difference in value. And United could then move that 30 million into what we've already got and go out and buy a striker. You've got your goalkeeper and you've got your striker basically in two transactions there that have done because Garnacho's open to moving to Aston Villa. It's just a way. You could just say that Chelsea come in and they spend 50 million on Ganacho, and Manchester United then go out and just buy Senny Lamens and Benjamin Cesco or whichever striker it is that they want to. I think the biggest fear for Man United fans is right now, if they go into business and they do a deal with Chelsea over Garnacho, that worryingly brings in the talk of a potential move for, yes, you guessed it, the Nicholas Jackson one. Thankfully, Romano did say that it wasn't anything serious with Jackson last night, because I don't think any United fan wants him in. I think it's got to be Watkins or Cesco if you're looking at the price tag of Nicholas Jackson. Like, I'm sorry, he is pretty much at the moment being priced the same as Watkins and Benjamin Cesco. So forget it. Like, Chelsea have got no deal there. Sell Garnacho over 50 million if you want, and then move forward and buy elsewhere. I think that is where we're at with Garnacho. And we'll get some comments in on Garnacho in just a moment now. First of all, let's check this poll out now and see where we're actually at. Quick swig of coffee, in we go. Which two positions are highest priority? Goalkeeper, midfielder, striker, goalkeeper, striker, midfielder. Now, we're putting the twos together because this is what Romano was saying last night. Two key positions that United are going for. Obviously, if they can get the third, they will. But opportunity has to knock, and then we'll take advantage of it then. But goalkeeper and midfielder is 11% of the vote. Striker, midfielder is 31% of the vote. And thank you. It does look like people got mixed up with last night's poll, because striker and goalkeeper are landsliding the vote with 58% of the poll vote right now. So 58% of you think that the two most important positions for Manchester United to buy in now this window is striker and goalkeeper. We'll take that. That is good for us. I think getting them to win definitely changes Manchester United. The concern will always be there for midfield though, and trust me on this, I'm not forgetting about the midfield, because I know that it is lacking at the moment, and a lot of people have picked up on it, including Ruben Amorim from that Leeds friendly game the other day. So And that, I think, is obviously something that we'll have to keep an eye on. And I think that's why United are looking at cheaper midfield options like Wilfred Ndidi. So 5 to 8 million for him, for a Premier League proven midfielder who is still in his 20s. I think Manchester United might go down that road if they get the right goalkeeper and they get the striker. I think that's what Man United will do anyway. I think that's where the talk is going. That's how I feel anyway. Mino in the chat says, it won't be a swap, Adam. They'll pay 60 million and we get the financial fair play and we sign Martinez for 25 million. Look, it's not so much like a straightforward swap. You're right in what you're thinking. United could make this deal work in a couple of different ways to balance the books. I'm just talking the transaction, and the deal could consist of, if Ganacho's going to Aston Villa, there could potentially be a move for Martinez the other way. There could potentially be a move for Ollie Watkins the other way. We don't know. Let's just see what happens with that, because they could say, right, okay, we'll take Ollie Watkins then. We don't have any money left from that Garnacho transaction now, but we have bought another striker in, and then we can go out and maybe buy Senny Lamens with the money that we make of Jadon Sancho. And then when we sell Antony, we could make what we want to out of that to go out and buy a midfielder. There's a few different ways that it could break down, to be honest. But whichever way it goes, I think Martinez only comes to United if Garnacho goes to Villa. That's just how I see it. I don't see United spending money outright without selling a player the other way or getting something out. I just think Martinez will only come if United, like Romano said, have got a player going the opposite way to Villa. I think it makes sense as well. Almac says, we didn't go for Xavi Simons because we didn't think he was good enough. Arsenal and Chelsea are now competing to sign him. We've always been looking at Xavi Simons, but I'm sorry. If you asked me if I wanted Cunha and Mbeumo, Xavi Simons, out of them three, who would I take? I would take Matthias Cunha and Brian Mbeumo over Xavi Simons every day of the week, mate. I'm sorry, he's not Prem proven, and we can't take that risk this season. He may prove to be a good player, and you may be able to come back, Al, and say, look, he's doing well at Arsenal, and he's doing well at Chelsea now, but they are well-organised teams who are in the Champions League and who are doing well. United are not doing well, and at the moment, priorities are bringing in the right characters of players, not bringing in young, unproven players. United are just not at that stage where Arsenal and Chelsea are. We cannot do this anymore. And I know you could throw that across to the conversation about Benjamin Cesco and say, well, we're going for Benjamin Cesco. What difference is he to Xavi Simons? Well, I think in that area where Manchester United are looking for a striker, we've now surrounded it with Prem-proven experienced players in Mbeumo and Cunha. You've also got Bruno and Ahmad who can step up to that mark and mount. They obviously, and you're hoping that Rasmus could actually get better, but I think they're the players and the right types of players to nurture someone through in that position. But then again, we might not get Cesco. We might get what I just said then, because of what I was saying in terms of Prem-proven players, go for Ollie Watkins. These are the decisions that are being spoken about right now internally, like Romano said at Manchester United. And quickly, just on the goalkeeping side of things, I think we can forget about Diogo Costa. I think City have just about to put a bid in, and it's a big bid which will meet the mark and what Porto want for him. So 60 million euros apparently is what City are going for Diogo Costa. So that goalkeeper might be out of the equation for United. He was a target, obviously. Sorry, I'm determined to get my coffee down because I usually start a show and never drink it because I forget about it. So, yeah, I made my coffee this morning, but I'm having it today. I'm going to get it in. Aaron says, not selling Bruno will come back and haunt us. He's not a midfielder. He's a number 10. Not disciplined enough in the pivots. I hope I'm wrong. Well, this isn't Bruno's fault. Like, we cannot get on to Bruno about this. This is Ruben Amorim. So this is Ruben. He thinks that Bruno can be disciplined, Aaron, and he has to make Bruno work. That is down on him now. He was talking after the game on Saturday about him and that mix and that understanding between him and Cunha, and that will come. That's now down to Ruben Amorim to try and figure out the best of Bruno Fernandes. I can still see Bruno at points in this season play up in the number 10 role where he normally plays. I really can. He's got to figure out where Kobbie Mainoo fits in. Two problems that he's got. They're not so much problems because they're quality players. Two problems he has got, though, is fitting Bruno and Mainoo. They are square pegs in round holes at the moment because of their natural positions not playing in their natural positions. That's something he has to figure out and find an answer to, because everybody's waiting to see what Ruben does. We've got no waiting time. He's got no grace period now after what happened last season. We're going to give him the transfer window, like we said, and now we're expecting to see what he does with the players that he's brought in and the amount of money that's been spent. He is probably going to get around about 200 million spent this summer, I think, because United will buy a goalkeeper and a striker at least, and I think that'll take United upwards towards 200 million this summer, which is pretty decent considering Manchester United have got no Champions League football, no European football, and we finished where we did. I think this was necessary. And again, I go back to what I said before. I'd be intrigued to see what United do this summer. And I said this as we were finishing the season. Is this now going to force United to move players on and make things happen rather than go out and just spend that Champions League money and then players still be here? We're now seeing Manchester United, like I said, moving Marcus Rashford on. That deal is done. And we've got him out the door. Now let's see what happens with Ganacho, like we said here as well. Quick super chat from Manny before we move on to that Rasmus news. Central midfielder is paramount, goalie next, but not before Vitek is tested. I think the lad is ready. As for Cunha and Mbeumo, probably the best 10s combo in the EPL. Unfortunately, Manny, you are not going to get your way. It's going to be a striker next, mate. I think you're going to have to just accept it, buddy. But I agree with you completely, Manny, lad, on the Mbeumo and Matthias Cunha. Can they change what's there already? Can Chido improve with them? Can Rasmus improve with them? Talking about Rasmus Hojlund, I don't know, because there is a chance that he could be out of the door. Now, this is a report that has come out from Classio Mercato, which is obviously an Italian publication. Manchester United's stance on Rasmus Hojlund has changed, apparently, and they're open more for the selling side of things now, but not just selling, loaning Rasmus Hojlund as well. Now, I don't get where this works unless they feel like Rasmus Hojlund can go on loan with an obligation or something like similar to what Marcus Rashford's setup is. Maybe this is the way that United are thinking now, and they've made this decision all of a sudden that loan players with obligations to buy might be the way. I don't know. We're seeing. I'm just going off this report right now. But Nicola Shearer has also come out and said that Juventus have identified Rasmus Hojlund as a striker option for them now. And obviously being deep in conversation with United already regarding Jadon Sancho, could we see Rasmus Hojlund going to Juventus? It's not the first time we've heard this link with Rasmus Hojlund. Several times his name has come up, and it's gone with several different Italian clubs. But that's what Nicola Shearer said, and he said that Manchester United would be open for letting Rasmus go, as we know, and we've reported all summer. But this report says United are now open to a loan deal for Rasmus Hojlund, according to reports in Italy, with Juventus and AC Milan both circling for the Danish forward in recent days. Inter Milan has also been very interested in the player for the most of the window. That interest, as we know, has now dwindled out and cooled off. A report comes from Classio Mercato, who believe Hojlund is on his way out of United this summer. Juventus have been interested for some time, but AC Milan have made their interest known in recent days too. Hojlund signed for 72 million back in 2023, but has failed to showcase his true talents in a red shirt, despite a really promising first season. Despite that, there remains a feeling it would be best for the striker to leave the club. And that, again, I don't think necessarily Manchester United need Rasmus money to buy another striker in. Now, I think Manchester United will have money and enough money off the back of Rashford leaving, what I just described happening with potentially Ganacho, and obviously Anthony and Jadon Sancho. That brings in a striker without moving Rasmus on. So do United have the opportunity to take off the books £3 to £4 million worth of wages in Rasmus Hojlund for a season and maybe get a loan fee to help fund bringing in another player, i.e. another midfielder, a striker and the goalkeeper that we're talking about? We talked about the twos. United 100%, and we should not ignore the fact that this can easily be done. And this is where we're obviously judging Inos now, because we know we can get all three of these players in. There are players there. We have just lost out on Richard Rios. He has gone to Benfica. Here we go, confirmed. Fabrizio Romano, midfielder, gone. So what's next? Can Manchester United bring in another midfield option if we sell Rasmus, if we move Rasmus Hojlund on loan, if we sell Jadon Sancho, if we sell Garnacho, we sell Anthony? Of course we can. We can get a goalkeeper, we can get a midfielder and a striker all in this window now and what's left time-wise, easily with what we have got and what United are working on. This approach from United now, this cutthroat, ruthless approach of just taking them low bids and just getting the players out of the door will give United the opportunity to bring players in. That's all that matters. You can forget about all of the hysteria and all of the people going in on Manchester United. Look how much money they lost. They're now loaning out their £72 million striker, the man that they thought was going to be the next best thing at United. Look at Ganacho, another prospect that's come through the academy. He's gone. What's happening at Man United? Why is it so wrong? All of these deals were done before the new management team came in. Manchester United right now have to think about what works in this moment, in this summer, for us and Ruben Amorim. And getting Rasmus out on loan fee and wages covered, could help Manchester United bring in a midfielder this summer, or help to buy a Benjamin Cesco or an Ollie Watkins or a striker like that, and also get the goalkeeper at the same time. If you get Rasmus out on loan fee, cheap enough, obligation to buy next summer, another year off his contract, easier to sell him on next summer, a cheap obligation of 40 million for someone in Italy next summer for Man United is a good deal. And I think this is where that's what this story is alluding to right now. So, again, promising signs from Manchester United, accepting that we are where we are right now. And to move forward, Manchester United need to actually get a move on in terms of accepting these, I'll say, low-ball offers. They are low-ball offers, but they're realistic offers, more to the point. We're almost at 2,000 votes on the poll. The two key positions that Manchester United need to bring in this summer. You've got 3 options. Get voting on this poll, everybody. Goalkeeper, midfielder, striker, goalkeeper, and striker, midfielder. At the moment, striker, goalkeeper is at 55% leading the way, followed on 32% by striker, midfielder, and then goalkeeper, midfielder. I'm talking, screw that poll. Not for the sake of putting the poll up here, but screw that. Why don't we go out and get all 3 of these players? Because United can get all 3 of these players done in what's left this window. I'm telling you now, 100% United can get this done. Let's get into some of the comments on this, everybody, and see where we're at. If Ireland goals, we need 2 strikers. Otherwise, we are either playing as a 10, as a false 9, or Obi up front if the new striker gets injured. Look, I think what we're going to see here is, with not many Champions League games, there's a hope that Obi will come through and obviously be used more in the first team. But I think you're going to see Bruno move into the 10s, Ahmad move into the 10s. I think you're going to see Cunha, possibly even Bruno and Mbeumo used as a 9 at times. Joshua Zirkzee will be used as a 9. I just don't see how he fits in anywhere else at the moment. So you've got Zirkzee, you've got the new striker coming in, you've got Chido, you've got Cunha, you've got Mbeumo, you've got Bruno. I think that's what will happen this summer, even if Rasmus leaves. I've said this before, and I agree with what Simon says there. I thought we would have needed another two strikers if Rasmus was sold, just for rotation purposes. But then again, I think Manchester United are looking at going down to bare bones. It's not so much bare bones, but I think they're just stripping this squad down of players that just don't have the right attitude, mentality. Now, I'm not saying Rasmus hasn't got the right attitude. I think he does. I think he's honed in and focused as hell. I think sometimes player quality just shines out when you get to that. When you've got a player that's given you absolutely everything, which Rasmus is, in his mind, his effort is unquestionable. I give him that completely. But sometimes the quality comes through and it's just not good enough. And sometimes you're like, well, even bringing Rasmus on, can he do anything for us? No, is the answer most of the time. And I don't want to have a go at him and say, but that is the obvious thing that everybody's seeing right now. Rasmus just cannot cut it at the highest level. And maybe he needs to go back where the pressure isn't as big. Maybe on loan and has an absolute stormer of a season for AC Milan or Juventus. And if it's only an option to buy for them clubs, maybe United would look to bring him back then. But I don't see him getting the game time anyway at Manchester United this season. And for that reason, I don't see him improving. Now, people would say another striker coming in like a Watkins, he would learn a lot off him, wouldn't he? He would. He would learn a lot off a Watkins. But is that enough for him right now? That's 3 years of his contract gone. You're over halfway through your contract and you're a bench player for 72 million. You need to be playing more. And that, I think, is... do you know what? If the way it would go in the season, I think even Obi could replace him in the national team. the way it's going this season, because I think that's where Ruben's at. The first first friendly of the season, Obby starts up front with Manchester United's best, or so-called best, attacking options on the pitch. I'm not saying that the options that were on the pitch in the second half were horrible, but when you've got Cunha, when you've got Bruno, when you've got Ahmad on the pitch, and you've got Chido playing with them and not Rasmus, I think that's a sign to me. I don't know anyone else seen that from the game on weekend, but I just think United now, with Rasmus Hojlund, haven't got the time. Either back him and play him as your number one, or you move him on. Because 3 years into a contract, playing a bit part for 72 million, I just don't think Manchester United could look at that. I think they need to move him on, and I think a loan would actually work for him in a way. Let me know what you think on that one. It's a tough one, I know, because he could actually be better with better players around him. We just don't know. But can we take the risk? That's what we're looking at. Letting Rashford go on loan to Barca is a mistake. He should have been told find a permanent move or under 23 football. That ends player power. No, player power is over, mates. And to be honest, do you want that virus all over Manchester United's academy players? No, you don't. I disagree with that. The loan is right. Get him out and don't pay him any money. If you want to make that move, take the cut. So Marcus Rashford is taking the 15% that Man United would be paying off his wages just so he can move to Barcelona. So United don't pay him anything for a year. Go and play with Barcelona. Go and get that form back, or whatever it is you think you're going to find there at Barca. No more issue for Man United. I think it was the perfect transfer for United and the best that we could do this summer. I think the best for Hojlund is still needs development, and he won't survive if he is the main man, and it will destroy him. Again, that is another point I think brought up by many people. It just seems to be the more you play Rasmus, the worse he gets. Maybe time on the bench might help him and come on as a bit part player. That could be a point. But in Man United's financial position and needing to bring other players in, can we afford to do that? Is that going to get in the way then of the development of Chido? Does that mean that Chido needs to go on loan if Rasmus is the number 2 striker? You see where I'm going with that, because it is only going to be one striker used at United. The 10s are going to be the dominant force in that attack in terms of numbers, and we've got an abundance of 10s. So the system isn't going to change, and I think he will be surplus to requirements this season, Rasmus, if another striker comes in. Will that help him? That's the decision that United need to make. Anyway, on Mbeumo, quickly, everybody, we know today is the day. Everybody reported it yesterday. There's been pictures leaked out everywhere about him wearing his number 19 training top inside Carrington. Obviously, I've seen pictures with what looks like his family in there as well. It's great to see. The fact that he turned up to Carrington in a suit, what does that tell you about the character of the man? That's like massive respect. I mean, it does sound a bit old school when we say things like that, but the fact that he turned up in a suit to his signing day, that speaks volumes for me. And yeah, I'm old school. I don't care. But I love that. But yeah, Bryan Mbeumo will be officially announced today. Medical done, contract signed, pictures done, all of his media duties. All he's doing today is turning up to Carrington to train with his teammates. How good does that sound, everybody? It does, doesn't it? Turning up to training today with the rest of the squad, and we're going to see them pictures of Bryan Mbeumo training alongside Ahmad, Bruno, Cunha. It's going to feel good to see. It really is. And all of a sudden, the quality goes up a notch at Manchester United. And everybody's starting to look forward to that first game in Chicago now. I've already seen pictures on social media of the journalists covering Manchester United out there in Chicago. Everyone's getting primed and ready for everything that's going on. We are going to get Ruben Amorim's first press conference over there in the States. That's what usually happens as well. So Ruben will start talking. Obviously, he can at least talk about Mbeumo and Cunha being done and doesn't need to deal with all of that speculation stuff. It should be a quite straightforward press conference for Ruben Amorim now. Obviously, we're not expecting... Well, we could get deals done, but in terms of what's actually been done, what will he be asked about in terms of transfers that are on or close to being finalised? Sancho, we know that Rashford is done by the time we get there to that press conference, and Bruno and Cunha are done. Maybe Sancho, and how close we are with that, unless we get Sancho's confirmation over the next 2 days. Hopefully we do. That'll make it easier for him. 2 in and 2 out conversation seems really easy for Ruben to actually deal with. But yes, Mbeumo will be Manchester United's new number 19, the shirt that he wanted anyway. And that, I think, is it's great news for Manchester United. It really is. Bryan Mbeumo is a Red officially today. We will get all of the press release from Manchester United. Cannot wait to see him in that shirt. Moving on to the striker side of things then. We talked about the outgoings, Rasmus. Talked about Ganacho this morning. Let's bring up the updates from Romano from the Cesco. We talked about it last night. I did have the clip. I've just not had time to put it together this morning. So what he said was Manchester United with the link of Christopher Vivel. This is what Romano said. Christopher Vivel knows Benjamin Cesco very well. He is playing a key role in the internal discussions regarding the striker's potential move. So Romano said it's not just Benjamin Cesco, as we know. There are other players that Man United are interested in. He did another video off the back of the video we did earlier on that we were bringing up the clips for last night. So I think Romano doubling down on the Cesco side of things, but also, as well, today, there is the news that I think it was Nicola Shearer as well. Let me just bring it up now. In 1 second. Let me just find it now for you. But he came out this morning saying that Manchester United are close. Yes, Nicola Shearer. So Manchester United have asked info for Leipzig. Asked Leipzig for info on striker Benjamin Cesco, who could leave RB Leipzig this summer. Christopher Vivel has good connections inside RB Leipzig and with the player himself. We've said this all along. It's no news or extra news for Manchester United fans to get into. It is that Christopher Vivel was the one that discovered Benjamin Cesco. He does have links there. Benjamin Cesco would be open to a move to Manchester United. He's open to a big European club project. And obviously now that Arsenal have decided on Gyökeres, obviously Liverpool and Chelsea are looking elsewhere for their forwards. It is now really the biggest club available is going to be Manchester United. There is no one else, really. In terms of historical stature and where we're at right now, there isn't anybody else in England who will take him. I mean, you could say, look, if Alexander Isak leaves Newcastle, then they might look towards Benjamin Cesco or something like that. That could be something potentially to look at in the future. Newcastle desperate at the moment in their situation and what's happening there. But right now, the in with United is Vivel, and that is going to play a massive part. And Romano was saying this himself. Manchester United right now are in the ideal position if they want to go for Benjamin Cesco. They're just hoping that they bring the price down and bring everything in line with what Manchester United can afford. There is a lot of news flying around this morning. I'm just going to double check there's nothing else there we need to go through. A lot of people talking about the announcement of Bryan Mbeumo today. Will it be this morning? It probably will be this morning, I'm guessing. Manchester United want to get it done. The players usually arrive into training around about 10, 11 o'clock. So I'm hoping that we get it all wrapped up and it is done and we see the pictures of Mbeumo training later. But on the Cesco side of things and what is being reported, Nicola Shearer jumping on to what Romano said last night also, it's looking quite positive, but still nowhere near. So let's not get too carried away with what's actually happening with this deal. And some people are still not fully convinced by Benjamin Cesco, by the way. Like he is the answer for Manchester United. He is significant. He is a very, very good striker. I think it's a big signing for Manchester United. And it would be funny if we bought Benjamin Cesco in and then imagine he does or has a better season than what Victor Gyökeres does at Arsenal. I know. It's a far cry. To be honest, like, he could have a good season. He could do better than Gyökeres. United have got to start playing a hell of a lot better football for that to happen. But still, you never know. And in terms of perfect circumstances and perfect scenarios, then you're probably looking at that being right up there as the top for this season. Benjamin Cesco goes to United after Arsenal turned him down and went for Gyökeres, who United really wanted. It was a complete vice versa, role reverse, and then Cesco has a better season for United. Okay, the bonus of Benjamin Cesco over Gyökeres is that he's younger, he's got more time. I think United will be more open from the hierarchy side of things and investment to bring Benjamin Cesco in than they would Gyökeres, because they didn't want to spend that much money on a player that's not got as long left in his career. I'm not taking that out of context at all. He is obviously 5 years younger, Benjamin Cesco, than Victor Gyökeres, so that's big. That's massive when it comes to where Manchester United are at and what their thinking is. So, yeah, I do think that Benjamin Cesco for United right now, I think he's probably number one target. I do. I think that's the one that they're talking about. Obviously, we know Vival has gone and watched games with Cesco again. He's been a very busy man. I think this is being backed by both Jason Wilcox and Christopher Vival. And apparently with what's left now, there is a story going around as well. I don't know how serious it is. I just seen it. I was reading it the other day that that would be Ruben Amorim's preferred choice. I take them stories with a pinch of salt, to be honest. But we do know for certain that if United had an option and if discussions were going on internally about which striker to go for, Benjamin Cesco would be United's top target. So what do Leipzig do? How do they bring this deal down for Manchester United to be able to afford him? United could afford him now at like 70 million if they wanted to. They're just not going to. I think if it comes in around about 60 million, I think United make this happen. And that's not a million miles away. Going off the reports from what the discussions were with Cesco and Arsenal, it was in between 60 and 70 million. Now, they started out around about 80 million, Leipzig, 80 million euros. And it's come down with discussions. But the structure of the deal didn't suit Arsenal. And that was reported that that's why they went across to Benjamin. So that's why they went across to Gyökeres. Yeah, that looks like that worked out for Arsenal, doesn't it? No more complications in the Gyökeres deal compared to Benjamin Cesco, is there? But hey, look, Gyökeres will sign for Arsenal. I'm convinced of it. And that deal, and Ruben shut that. Romano shut that Gyökeres story down yesterday, linking in with Manchester United. United's target is Benjamin Cesco. You got Ollie Watkins, and you've got Nicholas Jackson. I think they're the ones. You could see someone else creep in there, potential Gonzalo Ramos, and then you've got the nightmare scenario, which is obviously the players that are free agents, the Calvert-Lewins, Jamie Vardy's, Callum Wilson type strikers. We go down that road, it will feel a little bit like an anticlimax. When everything feels quite positive right now, it does feel like, like that would be a bit of a letdown if we ended up taking them strikers. But hey, Benjamin Cesco is still definitely on and is a real target for Manchester United. So let's see how that one develops now over the coming days. I think, like we've said, everything that we said at the top of the show with Rasmus and Garnacho, I think we're probably looking there at that playing a significant part in where we're at with Benjamin Cesco. If you weren't watching last night, you wouldn't have heard me talking about Atletico Madrid being the number one now for Antony. That, I think, is key for United now. Antony moving on after Rashford and Sancho are massive in terms of Manchester United's books. The monetisation of them two and how Manchester United amortise them deals is going to be massive, I feel. Because losing Sancho, losing Antony, and the room that gives United financially, that's easily bringing in Benjamin Cesco, a goalkeeper and a midfielder, all in one goal. And then Ganacho on top of that, that's just the icing on the cake. And that's why I said at the top of the show, Manchester United, instead of looking like we've got in the poll at what the top two players should be for United to go for the rest of this window, United should be looking at bringing in all three of them. The striker, the midfielder and the goalkeeper need to come in this summer for United, I think. I would be disappointed if we didn't get all of them, because I think we can get them. We've got Bryan Mbeumo and Cunha done without selling anyone. That's it. They're the facts. We haven't sold anybody yet. Rashford's gone on loan now. Obviously, that was after we announced Bryan Mbeumo. So we know that we were comfortably in position to get Mbeumo done. So that's done. So now everything else is all about what Man United sell and what Man United get rid of. So Rashford's gone straight away. There we've saved 17 million. What can we do with that? You get Ganacho out of the door. Then Antony, if United get anywhere near what they're asking for right now for Antony, then we are quids in. And we can definitely make a massive, substantial purchase for somebody else. To bring in three big players is the scenario right now. It's a bit broken down. Rashford's gone. Brilliant. If we sell Sancho and his wages are off the book, even better. Antony being sold and Garnacho also being sold, that is enough to bring you a Benjamin Cesco or an Ollie Watkins, a Martinez or a Senny Lamens, whatever goalkeeper it is, and an Edison into midfield. United could get all of them deals done easily with selling all of them last four players that we've got. And I'm including Malacia in that as well at the end of the day. With what we've got with sell-ons, with the players that that have been sold already, Alvaro, Oyedele and Anthony Elanga, Obviously, the Sancho fee, that money, plus everything else of these players. United, when you look at the way that PSR works and what you can afford when you do the instalment factor, United could bring in free a whole spine. Top striker, top midfielder, and a goalkeeper. I'm talking 20-odd million on a goalkeeper. I'm talking 50 million on a midfielder. And you could buy a striker for 60 million with that. It's if United choose to do it, that's all. But that then would put Manchester United right in the mixer to qualify for the Champions League. Sounds like a crazy statement, doesn't it? But them sort of signings, if you got all three of them in them positions at the top quality that we were just talking about there, then United without European football can take advantage of that. That is a big, big plus. And don't forget the European football factor this season. Shit that we don't have it, but in terms of finishing high up the Premier League table, could be absolutely huge and cannot be ignored. Let's get some comments in. Andreas with a super chat. First of all, I love that he turned up in a suit. Shows respect for Manchester United. Hoping we get a striker and a goalkeeper. Our midfield will be a problem to sort out later. Well said, mate. Again, like the suit thing with Mbeumo definitely impressed me anyway. It just shows a little bit of class, doesn't it, from Mbeumo with that one. I think that's what that does show. Let's see. We need a young Pogba in midfield, says Stephen. Edison staying at Atalanta. They've sold Lookman. I don't think Lookman's done yet, is it? To be honest. And no, Edison still can leave. It doesn't matter if Lookman goes. Edison still wants to leave Atalanta, mate. That story's been there all summer. I think 60 million for Watkins is just too much. Maybe 30 million tops. Yeah, it depends. Like with Watkins on that one, I think if Villa come down in price, United might be interested. I think 60 million takes United out of the equation, personally. I just think it's too much for a 29-year-old. And with everyone saying midfield is a massive problem, right now we need two central midfielders, really. It says Cal. A top four, yes, Cesco on loan to buy would be the best deal. That would be proper football recruitment if we managed to get that one done. Sign Watkins, Lamens and Belabor in midfield, says Nathan. Good signings, yeah. That would change Manchester United completely. Cesco is the answer. We all moan about price tags. You can win games with Hojlund and Xerxes or Obi or Jackson or anyone else. Cesco is 22 and has been 5 years in and is highly skilled. Cesco's the answer. Akash with a super chat also says, I'm gutted we missed out on Rios. Yeah, I think a few people are, but why weren't there any big teams in for him is the question. Did we miss something? Or has the scouts picked up on something that we didn't see? He's 25 and didn't move out of out of Brazil for a long time. You usually get the younger players coming out of there a bit earlier, don't you? But again, no idea why. He looked like an absolute baller to me. And at the price he was, we might have missed it there, really. Benfica will end up selling him for 50 or 60 million like they always do. And again, good business by them. Selling Alvaro Fernandez, bringing in Richard Rios. He will be the next one that gets sold. You know how it works. Let's see what else we got. Young Vieira or Torres for any midfield. Cunha and Mbeumo going to be so easy for fans to get behind. After they told all suitors to get lost. Steve, yeah, definitely. Cult heroes already them two, aren't they, with the way that they prioritise Manchester United as their move. 100% agree with that. It is going to be a case of jumping straight in. I bet them two shirts are really popular in Man United's Superstore as well. If United did the maths on them sales, there is a lot of them transfer fees. There's a lot of that transfer fee for both of them players coming right back in to Man United's Megastore, 100%. Let's see what else we've got comment-wise in here. Just George says, I think no one went for Cesco because it was rumoured that RB Leipzig wanted 100 million euros. Yeah, and again, like Ekitike, Frankfurt wanted 100 million euros. Let's see what can happen. Like, I think what Romano said about Cesco is that maybe Leipzig will drop their price towards the back end of the window. Maybe United have just come in at the right time for Benjamin Cesco. Maybe that's it. We will see, won't we? also. Yeah, rocking out the Manchester United retro shirts again. Link in the description if you want to grab yourself an absolute bargain and quality retro shirt. Get in there. Top training kits through clubs all over the world on the site. That's where I got mine from. The mods have dropped it into the description. Into the live chat. If you are watching later on, it is in the description as well on OK Jersey. So go check them out. Get your shirts there, everybody. Almac says, Baleba is 100 million. You need to find those kind of players before they become EPL proven, which is always the risk when you bring them into a high pressure situation at United or a bigger club. That, I think, is the problem you've got with players like that. United aren't there for them because I just don't think that they are ready to handle it. They need that step. They need to go to another club first and then go to Manchester United, I think. And that's what always happens with them players, unfortunately. But United are trying, like dipping into the South American market. We'll see, won't we? We'll see if that does prosper Manchester United going forward. Cesco kind of worries me. Not many goals in a lesser league. It's not bad, averaging 20 plus. And let's be honest, like at Leipzig. Are Leipzig that good? Is he going to get a better service? You would say it's a no-brainer because he's got Cunha, he's got Mbeumo, and that will work for him. He's got them two players there to work with, a better service, Bruno behind, Ahmad. I tell you what, Ruben's got a selection headache going into that opening game against Arsenal, who he actually plays, which is something that we've not really come across before, especially on the opening day. Can you imagine Xerxes gets fit as well? That's mega. Everybody as well, thank you for all of the likes on the show. We've had over 600 live likes, which is absolutely mega again. Thank you so much. Please hit the like button if you're enjoying the content. And make sure that you hit the subscribe button as well, everybody. We're getting closer to 92,000 now. We're moving up. We're edging ever closer. How close will we be to that 100,000 subscriber mark before the transfer window ends on September 1st? That's our next target. We got to our target of 90,000 before the season started with time to spare. It'd be interesting to see actually where we're at subscriber-wise before the season starts as well. But thank you everybody already who you have subscribed. Make sure that you do keep hitting that subscribe button, people. And yes, it is helping the channel massively and it is free. Thank you again. I'm going to wrap things up there, everyone. That is your morning show, all up to date. Everything you need to know. Let's see what the poll finished on first of all. Get your last little votes in the poll. We're just around the 3,000 vote mark on the poll as well. What two positions are the highest priority for Manchester United from now until the end of the window this summer? Goalkeeper, midfielder, striker, goalkeeper, striker, midfielder. And the poll at the moment, a goalkeeper midfielder is 13%, striker midfielder is 32%, but the winner of today's poll and the two priority positions that the fans think here on Forever United TV, United need to go out and buy this summer now, in what time's left, are striker and the goalkeeper. And I agree. Them two positions are knackered right now for Manchester United, and we do need to improve them drastically. Thank you, everybody. Mods, fantastic job in the live chat, as always, in handling the chats there. The poll is now finished. Thank you, everybody, for all of your votes on that. Check out the links in the live chat and in the description. Hit the QR code on your screen as well for our latest match bingo games that are on right now. All the information there off that QR code, everybody, and the link as well in the description on that. Thank you, everybody, for all of your comments in and input throughout the show. Let's see where we are later on today. I'm sure we'll be back at lunchtime with an update. Mbeumo Day is coming, everybody. Be prepared. The official announcement is on its way. We're about to see the first pictures of Bryan Mbeumo in a Manchester